Hey everyone, let's welcome to the last portion of this entire series, and this is the video number 16 of the entire cryptography series. In this one, we are going to talk about certain attacks. So we are going to talk about a lot of attacks on cryptography in this particular section. So expect this to be a little lengthy, but we will make sure that we cover all the attacks. The first one is called as a frequency analysis attack. Now, what is a frequency analysis attack? As we understood in case of substitution cipher, right? If you guys remember the fourth video, we have discussed about substitution cipher and transposition cipher, right? In that one, I told you that the pattern is the biggest enemy of cryptography. If let's say the attacker got some kind of ciphertext and he is able to find out certain patterns out of this, because in whatever language, let it be English language or any other language, you know, some words or characters are more repeated than others. If the attacker is able to find that particular pattern, that can lead to breaking the crypto system. This particular concept, this particular kind of analysis, which is actually based on the kind of repeated character and words in any kind of language, based on that, when people break cryptography, it is called as frequency analysis. So this is a very popular mechanism which is used. There is a particular, if you research on internet, you will find a particular index which says in this particular language this much is the this much times a particular character is repeated, and based on that the crypto system can be broken. The second kind of attack is called as side channel attack. And if you want to go deeper into this, on my YouTube channel you might also see there is another video which is almost like 4,000-5,000 people have already seen that particular video. It's very much detailed, you can go through that also. Side channel attack. Okay, so in side channel attack, it is a very different type of attack which is non-intrusive. We are not trying to actively break a particular system, but what we do, for example, you might have seen when people used to have magnetic cards for their banks, right? The particular black strip at the back side, and people, when the people use it on the ATM, there are certain spoofing devices which were coming. If you fix that spoofing device on the pad, what will happen? It will clone the particular debit card or a credit card, and then this particular information can be used to recreate, or you can say create a forged card in that particular case. That's a very good example of a kind of attack which is side channel attack. Normally side channel attack is not intrusive, but how do we do it is, let's say we are observing the voltage. When a particular encryption system is working or a crypto system is working, it is taking different voltage for different characters, and when somebody is able to map it, okay, for encrypting A the voltage required is 1.1 volt, for B it is 1.5 volt. When you are able to see those patterns and you are able to find out the pattern out of it, that means you can break a crypto system, right? You are not directly breaking it, but you are actually observing the consumption of the electricity, and based on that you are able to see, okay, yeah, this is the key. So there are devices which can do that for you. Okay, I hope you got that, right? Similarly, there is also something called as timing as well. Timing side channel attack. In the timing attack is when a particular crypto system actually works in, there are different characters it is trying to encrypt or decrypt. There will be different time taken by the system. It is not a constant time taken by the machine. It will take a little different time for each and every one. If you have noted down, okay, for this character this much time is being taken, for this is this much, then very well, if you observe the timing of the entire crypto system, you can actually break a crypto system even if you have not been intrusive to it, isn't it? Then when voltage and timing is one thing, but you are not able to, let's say, find out anything out of it, then you can also try something called as fault injection as well. Fault injection, because if you are able to find out, or you are able to perform the voltage attack or a timing attack, that means you are in the vicinity of the crypto system. If you are in the vicinity of the crypto system, that means you may have some kind of control over the crypto system. So you can also try to inject some kind of fault in that case. You go a step further and you create some kind of fault. Let's say you increase the voltage by a limit. Okay, you increase the voltage by a limit, or just stop the supply, then increase, like up and down in the voltage and all of this. When we do this, when the attacker is able to inject that fault deliberately into the system to read the pattern of the crypto system and then to break it, it is called as fault injection attack. I hope you guys got the main concept from the exam perspective, right? This is very clear. The next kind of attack which we are trying to understand is called as pass the hash. Now you may also see this as a replay attack. Pass the hash. Let's say Mr. A is going to communicate with Mr. B, and for this communication you need some level of authentication, and let's say they are communicating based on a old protocol, something called as PAP, password authentication protocol. In this, the password is directly traveling on the wire. So what can happen is somebody can spoof the hash, and if this is not encrypted, if the hash is not encrypted before sending on the wire, let's say you are using telnet, you are using FTP, we don't really encrypt the passwords, right? It is used as it is. So if a particular hash is not encrypted and somebody is able to spoof it, don't you think he can use the same hash, maybe try out on a different system D, or maybe even try on the same system B, isn't it? When we do this, this is called as pass the hash attack. Okay, this is called as pass the hash attack. Then I think all of you might know man in the middle attack. We have already discussed this. Man in the middle attack, MITM, right? MITM attack. So in a man in the middle attack, Mr. A want to communicate with Mr. B, but Mr. C come in and he try to interface between the two, comes in here, and on this interface he try to spoof as B, and on this interface he try to spoof as A. What will happen is Mr. A will send data to B thinking that he is sending to this original guy, but actually he is sending to C. So this guy get the password, isn't it? The same thing you can think of when somebody is able to put a ROG Wi-Fi access point in your company, and you feel like, oh yeah, this is my SSID, my company SSID itself, and when you try to connect, it asks you for username password, you give username and password, and it authenticate you, it sent back to your network device and you get authenticate. But do you know your password has already been compromised? So this is what is called as man in the middle attack. Okay guys, a very similar attack is meet in the middle. Actually it's not similar, it is similar in terms of wording. So I want to make sure you don't get confused in the exam, that is why I am covering it here. Meet in the middle attack, right? Now meet in the middle attack, is little different than man in the middle attack. See, it is completely different rather. What will happen is, in cryptography we understood block cipher, and in block cipher we know we divide a particular message into block. Each one of them goes with transposition, substitution to create the ciphertext, isn't it? When a particular block is getting encrypted and this is supplied to the next block for further action, if the attacker is able to capture this here, when it is here, like when a particular message is kind of processed in between itself, if the particular text is stored temporarily somewhere and somebody is able to capture it, it is called as meet in the middle, right? When the attacker is able to get into the crypto system and he is able to get between the processing he is able to get the raw packets there, raw data there, and based on that he is able to break a crypto system. It is called as meet in the middle attack. Okay, this kind of attack is also an example of implementation attack. Implementation attack. Now implementation attacks normally happens when there is a flaw in the implementation workflow. For example, I am using a initialization vector which is very small, or a particular initialization vector is not very random, right? If I am using some kind of implementation related issues, then that can also be exploited by the attacker to do an attack on you. Okay guys, the next one comes is called as Kerberos exploitation. Now in Kerberos, two different type of attacks you must know. One we already understood in the pass the hash thing, right? That is also very much a possibility. Somebody gets a TGT and try to use the TGT, right? So there are two different type of attacks when it comes to Kerberos. One is called as silver ticket, one is golden ticket. When in a silver ticket attack, the attacker is able to gain access to a ticket granting ticket which is actually for somebody else, but attacker is able to gain access to a ticket granting ticket and then able to use it in an unauthorized way. It is called as silver ticket attack. Most simplest definition, right? In a golden ticket attack, the attacker is able to gain access to the KDC, key distribution center, and once the attacker gain access to the KDC, he is able to generate forged TGT. So he can generate as many forged TGT as he wants. As and when there is a request from the end user coming, he can generate a forged TGT and try to access a particular crypto system. Now a very good method to break this kind of thing is, one thing is, if you are landing in this condition, you are super unfortunate, like aapki watt lag chuki hai by that time. But even if let's say this happens, then I think controls like multi-factor authentication, with multi-factor authentication set up on a different system, those kind of solution can still be very helpful to you in this kind of condition, right? But detection is the key here. The faster we are able to detect, that's better. Guys, the last attack we are going to understand here is called as ransomware. Ransomware attack. So what happens in a ransomware attack? Let me see. Okay, this is the last slide. Okay, so ransomware attack, what will happen is, you may get a phishing email, you may go to a particular website, you click on a particular link which is not good, and what will happen is, there may be a malware which will come on your system. The malware will encrypt everything by using the public key, right? It will encrypt data on your system using the public key, and then it will serve as a customer care for you, and they will ask, sir, if you want this data to be decrypted, please pass on this particular, take this particular package, pay me this much bitcoins, right? And we will be helping you to decrypt your data. We will give you the key, and then they will sell out this particular key. They will sell out the private key. So that is also related to cryptography only, right? Now good part is that ransomware attack, whenever it happens, is now companies are getting more and more aware. They are keeping the offline copy of the backup, they are keeping multiple copies of the backup, which is a good thing. There are some very good websites who are doing a lot of research on all new ransomware, and most of the ransomware can be decoded nowadays. There are keys and there are solutions available for that. And on an enterprise level, you should have a policy not to pay ransom. Make your people aware of how do we act in certain condition, but there has to be tangible program which you have to create to counter ransomware for sure, and take, in many cases people also take insurance, ransomware insurance and all of this. Okay guys, this was the entire section on the attacks on cryptography. I will quickly rewind it for you so that you are able to remember it. One keyword about everything: frequency analysis, patterns. The attacker only have ciphertext. They are able to analyze the pattern and break the system. Side channel attack, non-intrusive, based on calculating the voltage going to the crypto system or the timing it takes to encrypt a particular message. The attacker is able to analyze that particular behavior and break it. One further step is called as fault injection, where the attacker is able to induce some kind of fault. That means increase the voltage, decrease the voltage, all of this, do some experimentation as well. This is only possible if the attacker is able to gain access to the system first and foremost, right? So that is another attack. Pass the hash. You want to pass me a hash, but some other person catch the hash in between, you start using it somewhere else. It's like a baseball, right? I throw a ball on you, somebody take that particular ball and start using it somewhere else. Pass the hash, simple. Man in the middle, same, very similar to the same. For example, I want to communicate to you, but somebody else catches our message. Just like in football, I give you a pass, somebody intercept it and take it, right? Man in the middle. Then meet in the middle, when the encryption is happening, and let's say block encryption is happening, and different portion of the cryptography is getting processed, and attacker is able to get into this and capture something which is raw, is stored. The particular encrypted text or plain text is raw, is stored, and use it. That is called as meet in the middle. Meeting in the middle of doing the cryptography, doing the encryption or decryption. That is what is called as meet in the middle. Then Kerberos exploitation, major two attacks: silver channel, when somebody is able to gain a TGS which is actually meant for somebody else, right? You can use it just like pass the hash kind of thing. This one, in this thing, this is not hash, this might be a ticket, encrypted ticket. Only difference is that. Golden ticket attack, when the attacker has access to the entire KDC itself and he is able to generate forged tickets and then use it. Simple as that. Okay. Then ransomware attack, I think we all know it. The attacker or maybe the malware is able to encrypt your data by using the public key, and for private key they are asking for money. So these are certain attacks you should be clear in the cryptography. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this entire series thoroughly, and I know a lot of time I have taken from you guys. I hope, but this has given you certain kind of value. You know, all the best guys.